क्षीणमदितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनों विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिने नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशकारिणे वंशाकल्पतरुश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। So welcome everyone for this Pitambar training. So continuing from yesterday, now there are 42 verses in the chapter 1. Now these few verses which are going to come now, where Arjuna is going to express his decision, and one of the reason he is going to give, that is simple reactions which will come because of me engaging in this war. That's what according to his understanding, and he is not presenting this out of vanity, but he's presenting this philosophy on the Vedic literatures only. There is gradation of the Vedic injunctions. Actually, there is Niti Shastra, there is Dharma Shastra. He is speaking on Niti Shastra, but there is Dharma Shastra, there is Paro Shastra. Para means final understanding of what is the Dharma is. So Paro Dharma, based on that also is there. So now we are going to see the first reason in the next few verses why Arjuna he expresses this, and now three more reasons he'll express in the next chapter also. But the first reason is expressing this. So we'll continue with the 36. Papameva shraye dasman hatvai tanat adatayinaha. Okay. Tasman narha vayam hantum dhata rashtan sabandhavan Swajanam hi katham hatva sukhinaha syama madhava. So he's speaking this. Translation: sin will overcome me. This is the first reason what is given according to Niti Shastra. Sin will overcome us if we slay such aggressors. Therefore, it is not proper for us to kill the sons of Dhritarashtra and our friends. What should we gain, O Krishna, husband of goddess of fortune? You know, see why he is calling husband of god of fortune also. There is reason. Because unfortunately misfortune will come to me. You are a husband of goddess of fortune. And how could we be happy by killing our own kinsmen? Vishnu Chakravarti is saying, in killing these aggressors, we will only incur sin. So, therefore, we should not kill the sons of Dhritarashtra with the relatives of Madhava. How can we live happily having killed our own relatives? Yes. Ganesh Prabhu, please read the purport.
According to Vedic injunctions, there are 6 kinds of aggressors: a poison giver, one who sets fire to the house, one who attacks with deadly weapons, one who plunders riches, one who occupies another's land, and one who kidnaps a wife. Such aggressors are at once to be killed, and no sin is incurred by killing such aggressors. Such killing of aggressors is quite befitting any ordinary man, but Arjuna was not an ordinary person. He was saintly by character, and therefore he wanted to deal with them in saintliness. This kind of saintliness, however, is not for a Kshatriya. Although a responsible man in the administration of a state is required to be saintly, he should not be cowardly. For example, Lord Ram was so saintly that people even now are anxious to live in the kingdom of Lord Ram, Ramarajya. But Lord Ram never showed any cowardice. Ravana was an aggressor against Ram because Ravana kidnapped Rama's wife Sita, but Lord Ram gave him sufficient lessons unparalleled in the history of the world. In Arjuna's case, however, one should consider the special type of aggressor, namely his own grandfather, own teacher, friends, sons, grandsons, etc. Because of them, Arjuna thought he should not take the severe steps necessary against ordinary aggressors. Besides that, saintly persons are advised to forgive. Such injunctions for saintly persons are more important than any political emergency. Arjuna considered that rather than killing his own kinsmen for political reasons, it would be better to forgive them on grounds of religion and saintly behavior. He did not, therefore, consider such killing profitable simply for the matter of temporary bodily happiness. After all, kingdoms and the pleasures derived therefrom are not permanent. So why should he risk his life and eternal salvation by killing his own kinsmen? Arjuna's addressing of Krishna as Madhava, or the husband of the goddess of fortune, is also significant in this connection. He wanted to point out to Krishna that as husband of the goddess of fortune, he should not induce Arjuna to take up a matter which should ultimately bring about misfortune. Krishna, however, never brings misfortune to anyone, to say nothing of his devotees.
Now the discussion is going to come. Anyway, in this purport, very wonderful points we can see. Now he's thinking about killing such aggressors. Now Ravana is an outside person, and he kidnapped Sita, so he can be killed by Ram. But these people are my own people, and then they should be forgiven. No, my own people. No, based everything based on bodily platform only. So Niti Shastra, and there is Artha Shastra and the Dharma Shastra. Niti Shastra, Artha Shastra, and Dharma Shastra. So anyway, now he's speaking in the front point, the platform of Niti Shastra is speaking actually. See here, the 6 types of aggressors should be immediately killed. Is spoken. Na? The 6 kinds of aggressors, na, actually practically Duryodhana and party are 6 things they did. A poison giver, they gave poison to Bhima also. One who sets fire to house, Lakshagraha, they were given fire. One who attacks with deadly weapons. They were in one sense, they're ready to attack with the weapons now, right? One who plunders riches, they plundered riches. One who occupies another land, that is also done now. One who kidnaps his wife, no, they have tried to disrobe Draupadi also, wanting to actually not kidnap. Whatever a person does by kidnapping, they wanted to do in front of everyone. Imagine, these are all kinds of aggressors, all the 6 kinds. Any one thing is done by somebody, they can be immediately killed. What? Dharma Shastra. But he's saying, no, we will forgive them. They are my people. Okay. Vinith, are you ready to read Krishna Chaitanya purport?
Yes, Prabhu.
You are able to see?
Yes, Prabhu. I am starting to. But it is said, Agnido Garadhaschaiva Shastra Panirdanapaha Kshetradharapahari cha Sadete Tatatnyaha. The arsonist, one who poisons, one who attacks with weapons, the thief, the stealer of property, and the stealer of one's wife are considered aggressors. Vasishta Smriti 3.19. And also it is said, Atatiyanam Ayantam Hanyad Eva Vicharayan Natatai Vade Doso Hantur Bhavati Kaschana. Without consideration, one should kill the aggressors, as there is no fault in killing them. Manusmriti 8.350. Thus, the scriptures prescribe killing in the case of aggressors. Arjuna answers with this verse: killing them, we will remain living, but we will be sinful. The above instructions are from Artha Shastra, but those instructions are weaker than those from Dharma Shastra. Yajnavalka says, Smrutyor virodhe nyayastu balavan vyavaharataha Artha Shastratu balavan Dharma Shastramiti stitihi. It is established that where there is conflict of rules in 2 Smriti statements, reasoning must prevail in choosing the correct rule. However, in reasoning, the rules of Dharma Shastra are stronger than those of Artha Shastra. Yajnavalkya Smriti 2.21. Thus, although they are aggressors, they are also acharyas. In killing acharyas, we will incur sin. We cannot also be happy in this life. Thus, he says, how can we be happy in this life having killed our own people?
So here it is quoted, Krishna Chaitanya is quoting Niti Shastra, there is Artha Shastra. Artha Shastra means slave. Now, why is Artha Shastra we should consider? See, there now already like by killing them. Now Niti Shastra also says that no, aggressors need to be killed. By killing them, we'll get sin, na? So there's no profit. There is a loss. That's why it is Artha Shastra. Artha Shastra talks about profit loss, no? Hey, we kill them, which is according to Niti Shastra also. Aggressors need to be killed, but we'll get sin. We'll not have profit. We'll only have loss. Now, Dharma Shastra should be considered higher. Dharma Shastra at once they need to be killed. Now he's saying that now, but they are acharyas is another higher. By killing actually acharyas, then we may get, we will suffer actually eternally, like the reason. So Baladev Bhushan also spoke the same thing. The arsonist means the aggressors only, poisons, attacks. Same things are quoted by Atatainam. Yeah, there is the kind of discussion. Read from here. Vinipro, read from here. Without consideration.
Without consideration, one should kill the aggressors, as there is no fault in killing them. Manusmriti 8.350. Therefore, by scriptural injunctions, it is justified to kill these 6 types of aggressors. In this verse, he replies to this argument. Having killed them, the sin caused by killing relatives will come to us who remain. This means that the statement of Arthashastra, as mentioned above, are weaker than the statements of Dharmashastra, such as Mahinsyat Sarva Bhutanihi, do not afflict any living entity. For the Smriti also says, Arthashastrastu Balavad Dharma Shastramiti Sthitihi. The rules of Dharma Shastra are stronger than those of Arthashastra. Yajnavalkya Smriti 2.21. Therefore, killing Bhishma and other worthy of worship on the strength of the weaker Arthashastra is certainly a cause of sin. In this verse, Arjuna concludes his statement, which started with Nachashreyo Nupashyami in verse 31. Therefore, Tasmat, because of the commission of the sin, and also because we cannot even achieve physical happiness in this life, stated in the verse above, of Dhritarashtra, who are our relatives, our enjoying the kingdom without our elders and friends meant for being happiness will actually bring sorrow. O Madhava, husband of Lakshmi, goddess of auspiciousness. Note, the derivation of Madhava is here Ma meaning Lakshmi and Dava meaning husband. Why do you instigate this war divide of auspiciousness?
Okay. So Madhava, you are husband of goddess of fortune. Why you are bringing inauspicious to us? That's what Arjuna is meaning. But actually, according to Dharma Shastra, it can be done. It has to be done. Dharma Shastra don't speak like that. No. In this case, no, this is more profitable. We should do it. Like that, Dharma Shastra. Dharma Shastra says you have to do it. You must do it. You ought to do it. That's what Dharma Shastra says. Okay, we'll go ahead. So Niti Shastra talks about only this thing, that Niti Shastra, like small children, Niti is spoken, Chanakya Niti, there is a Panchatantra, Niti stories are told, so that everybody can live peacefully. They are like on that level only. But what is profit, what is loss, that is spoken by Artha Shastra. But what needs to be done, has to be done, is spoken by Dharma Shastra. Okay, now we'll go ahead with 37. Now, Yadyapyetena pashyanti logo pahata chetasaha kulakshaya kritam dosham mitra drohe cha patakam katam na jnayamasnabihi papadasman nivartitum kulakshaya kritam dosham prapashyad vijanardhana. He's telling, O Janardhan, although these men, their hearts are overtaken by greed. These people are greedy. See no fault in killing one's family. And they don't see any fault in killing the family or quarreling with friends. Why should we? We know Dharma, Artha, Dharma Shastra. Now we can, who can see the crime in destroying a family, engage in these acts of sin? So they're not able to see. Like, you say, there are 2 children are there. A small child is not understanding that this is illegal to ask both the dolls to you only, for him only. But still, the elderly son, you can understand. He's just, stubborn he is. So give him, like that the parents also say, So they don't see, they are like mean-minded people, greedy people. Why should we be greedy? So like that is seen. Okay, Krishna Thakur is saying, even if they overcome by greed, do not see the fault of destroying the family and the sin in the killing friends. Should not we who see the fault of destroying the family know how to withdraw from this sin? Janardana, of course, same that with Baldev Devish also. Who is there? Sandra, you'll be able to read. You unmute and read.
Kshatriya is not supposed to refuse to battle or gamble when he is so invited by some rival party. Under such an obligation, Arjuna could not refuse to fight because he had been challenged by the party of Duryodhana. In this connection, Arjuna considered that the other party might be blind to the effect of such a challenge. Arjuna, however, could see the evil consequence and could not accept the challenge. Obligation is actually binding when the effect is good, but when the effect is otherwise, then no one can be bound. Considering all these pros and cons, Arjuna decided not to fight.
I'm saying that Arjuna was challenged by Duryodhana in order to fight. Now, Arjuna is not accepting the fight, that challenge. For what? On what basis? This will bring about ruination. So then he is thinking that it is justified. Arjuna is thinking like that. So obligation is actually binding when the effect is good. Okay. So if the effect is good, then obligation is binding. But the effect is otherwise, why should we bound? Why should we bound by the obligation? If you see the same principle that Yudhishthira Maharaj did not do. You remember? When the gambling match happened, in the gambling, actually everything is losing. That is an obligation for him. What is the obligation for Yudhishthira Maharaj that time? Huh? Why is gambling? Huh? By the order of Dhritarashtra actually. He took a vow when Draupadi was married. That time actually being Trikalagnya, Vedavas speaks that your two families are going to fight like anything. All these things is going to speak. Actually speaks. All this Kauravas going to be ruined by you, all of you, by 5 versus Pandavas, and you will reign the kingdom. Like that he says. Who says? Vyasdeva says. Then what Yudhishthira Maharaj said? See, if the father of both, who is a Dhritarashtra only now, if I simply follow his order, why should we conflict? Conflict will never come. So then there will not be any fight. So I take a vow today, whatever the king says, whatever Dhritarashtra says, I will follow simply. Like that he took a vow. Thinking that now this fight will not come, ruination will not happen. But the same Dhritarashtra being attached to his own Duryodhana. Now Duryodhana was inviting for gambling and Yudhishthira Maharaj had to play on the instruction of the Dhritarashtra. Now he was losing. He was losing his kingdom, losing his wealth. Eventually he lost his wife also. Still, what Yudhishthira Maharaj did? He did not come down from his obligation. Though it is lost, no? Though it lost. But what Arjuna is telling now? Arjuna is of course deluded by Maya. Krishna kept the Maya curtain. That's why he's speaking like this under the curtain of ignorance. Krishna put him in ignorance. That's why he's speaking. But it is lower to what Yudhishthira Maharaj. Actually, he is also knowing this. How we know? He is also knowing this principle that even obligation is lost. We should do it. Obligation. Dharma Shastra, no. He knows this Dharma Shastra. How can we prove it? You see, that time when Yudhishthira Maharaj was losing, Arjuna was also there only. Correct, no? My duty is what? Just to follow my elder brother, who is a king, who is my father's representative. He's supposed to follow. Not only that, Even Bhima was uncontrollable that time. He was controlled by Arjuna. Bhima was uncontrollable. I'll kill them all these Kauravas. That's what he was saying. So he knows this, but for us to teach the principle, Krishna has put him under delusion, and he's speaking out of vanity that how can I not follow this principle? How can I not follow that principle? Niti Shastra, Artha Shastra, our own people, kind of things. He's put under a curtain of that Yogamaya basically. For him, it's Yogamaya. For all of us, thinking that my members is a. So, are we with the time today? These are very, very important. Five reasons he's going to give. Now, one reason he gave here, and remaining reasons he's going to give in the next chapter. Sorry? 2, 3? He gave 2 reasons. Will not have profit. They're killed. That's what we intercede. That's why there's no profit.
You cannot enjoy without.
Enjoyment is a profit, no? That same reason is continuing. They categorize this all under one reason. Acharyas categorize like. Okay. So we have finished vision purport also, no? No. We are not done, right? We'll just complete this and we'll pause. Vinit bro, can you please read?
Yes, Prabhu.
Maldev Devotion.
But it is just satisfied, but it is justified to take part in this war since they have invoked it. The scriptures say that it is understood for the Kshatriya that he should not reject either a game of dice or a fight if challenged. Ahuto na nivartreta dyuta apiranadapi Mahabharata 3.56.8. Arjuna answers this argument in 2 verses. Being motivated by greed, they are inclined to sinful acts. We, without having greed, do not have the inclination to commit sin. Conscious of attaining an agreeable result alone should be the motivation. The agreeable result should not be linked with undesirable results. Thus, it is said, Palatopi chayat karma nanarte nanu badhyate kevala priti hetutva taddharma iti katyate. Dharma is said to be that action performed only out of affection whose effect does not lead to evil. Sloka Vartika 2.268. Note, this is a work by Kumarila Bhatta. Another book gave this reference, but I did not find the quotation here. Though there are such Shruti statements as Shenabhicharam Yajeta, one who wants to curse others should perform the Shena sacrifice. Apastamba Srauta Sutras 22.4.13. It is not proper for us to partake of this war because of its undesirable consequences, as is the case with the Shena sacrifice. The injunction of not refusing a challenge to fight relates to matter which do not bring about destruction of the family. The meaning of Janardana is same as in verse 35. Therefore, you should cause the suffering since you do not incur sin.
See here, what Acharyas are doing very beautifully. Now, Arjuna is speaking on some basis, some Artha Shastra, some Niti Shastra basis, no? So what Acharyas are doing? Acharyas are revealing to us on what basis he is speaking. So what he says here, whoever does perform that sin, means want to curse others. Why curse happens? If somebody hurts us, then that people curse now. The people who want to curse the others, they are supposed to perform this Siena sacrifice. What does it mean? What does it mean? You get sin. By cursing others, you get sin. That's why you perform Siena sacrifice. Now he's using this, by killing them, we get sin, which we are supposed to do some sacrifice because of our sin. So let us not fight. We will not be able to enjoy. Now we will not be able to enjoy because sinful reactions will come, no? Then we will not be able to enjoy. That's also another reason. The reasons are connected like that. So that's how he's speaking. Now tomorrow when we meet, we'll continue. And these reasons when acharyas are explaining, actually they are much more convincing now. What on what basis Arjuna is speaking, what on what basis Krishna is asking him to fight. The further elaborations are there. So very nice to learn, and very happy to be with all of you to learn all these things along with all of you. Hare Krishna. Tomorrow we'll meet again. Shri Prabhupada ki jai.